It is Midweek Extra. We are in association with Order Frames. Huge thanks to them for partnering with us again. It is the perfect gift for any occasion or the solution to hundreds of great photos on your mobile phone that you don't know what to do with and never see the light of day. Well, Order Frames have got you covered. As you can see right in front of us here, it is a stylish digital photo frame that you can load with unlimited amounts of your favourite pictures and keep going all the time. You can preload it, so when you hand it over to someone, they've already got great memories of the two of you on there, and it even comes in a lovely gift box. So get yourself over to orderframes.co.uk and you can get £25 off Order's best-selling Carver frame by using the promo code TAW at checkout. So that's Order Frames, spelled AURA, frames.co.uk, and that promo code is TAW. And do mention that you found us on the Anfield Wrap as well, and terms and conditions do apply. But it is Midweek Extra, it is the Anfield Wrap, it is John Gibbons, it is Mo Stewart, this is Tom Murphy, and this is Andy Heaton, and we're going to reflect, first of all, a couple of days later, on Liverpool going out of the Champions League to PSG, but we're also going to look ahead, of course, to the Merseyside derby, which is on Sunday, and then in the middle, you've got a cracking interview with John Conteh, who was Liverpool's first heavyweight champion. There's a fantastic play, well, I believe it's fantastic, it starts tomorrow, play all about his life starting the World Cup tomorrow, so we're going to hear from the man himself, with Kieo speaking to him. I'm really excited to watch that alongside with you, because Kieo went up there and did the interview yesterday. But first of all, how do you reflect on it a couple of days on, Mo? It's, we went with more hope than expectation, I think it is fair to say, and how much hope sort of depended on how much you wanted to kind of kid yourself, really. But, 36 hours on, if you like, how do you reflect on the performance, the night, and what you saw?
Football's funny sometimes, isn't it? Because, I always feel like you go through a cycle of how you feel about things. And I spoke about this quite a few different people before the game, about how the Paris leg, and about how initially it felt bad, but with almost every day away from it, you can kind of justify feeling a bit better, and then you kind of get around to the other side, almost do a 180 and think, oh no, it's only 2-0, we've won 2-0 before, we can go it, and we can do this. And with the home leg, I kind of feel like the opposite's happening. Like, in the moment, I was feeling like, okay, well, this is not a win, but it's a decent attempt at doing what was probably impossible. And since I've gone away from it and I've kind of thought about it a little bit more, I've looked at some of the data a little bit more, it's a little bit like, well, how much trouble were PSG in? I feel like it's one of those situations, had that first goal happened, then it very much changes everything, and it could have been one of those nights. But you get to the end of the tie, and it's aggregate 4-0, and Liverpool haven't scored a goal. And you think, how happy can we be, should we be about that situation? 180 minutes, no goal. I think that's the thing that keeps coming back to me. And obviously, there were times when it looked like a goal was close, but the reality is that if Liverpool want to be going toe-to-toe with those kind of teams, you can't have that.
Yeah, I was thinking after the game, like Mo says, we played, quick maths, 390 minutes against PSG in the last 2 years, and the only fellow who scored is Harvey Elliott. He's the only one who's managed it in the very last minute out there. They've at various times in those 390 minutes looked okay. At different times, PSG have looked miles better than us. At different times, we've gone toe-to-toe with them, but one goal in that whole time does suggest that, they're not quite getting it right.
I don't know. I mean, I'd separate the four fixtures. I wouldn't count last year, because I think the second leg last year, we were unlucky not to be 2 or 3 up in the first half an hour. And we got sucker punched by PSG, and that's full credit to them. With the other night, I'm kind of different somehow, in so much as what I wanted to see was a bit of fight, a bit of grit. We were up against it. And I'm not searching for ifs, buts and maybes, but one thing I looked for was them to try and light a fire. And I'm not trying to semi-quote Bruce Springsteen here, but they were sparking away, and they tried it. So the chance the Virgil had, you had the penalty, and who knows what happens. But if it goes 1-0, it is a different fixture. You turn Anfield into what's it called, the washing machine, if you will, and see how we cope with that. What disappoints me so much about the first leg is that we were covering up. We were never really interested in getting involved with the fight. We were in, the manager said themselves, survival mode, I think it was. And look, sometimes you just got to admit you were up against a better team. I wasn't as defeatist as maybe some other people were, if only because I'd look at odds before the game and we've been 5-1 on favourites and been beaten so many times this year. So when I was looking at the odds at the reverse, going, well, it is possible because we've been beaten when we've been heavy favourites as well. And they made a fist of it. And you talk about the 4-0. Listen, PSG scored their second when we were absolutely just gassing for it and pushing for it. And in a knockout competition, you take that risk. Would you rather them just go 1-0, oh, all right, let's just cover up and it's respectable, or do you go, right, okay, no. And they still had the belief, or maybe not the belief, but they were still brave enough to try and chase that result down, knowing that if they got 1, could become 2, could become 3. Ultimately, it's a bit of a reality check where we are at the minute. Both, with the manager and with the squad. And, I'm just I'm hoping with the top 5 leads us into a summer where we talk about reality checks. There's a reality check with the brain trust off the pitch about what the squad needs. I think sometimes they've tried to be too clever. You mentioned Harvey Elliott. If anything, in a microcosm, that summed up overthinking and trying to be too clever. Because you've got a kid there who's made the difference for Liverpool on numerous occasions. You're not telling me he couldn't have made a massive difference for us this season, and instead he's rotting on the Aston Villa bench. But relating to that, no, I'm not. I'm disappointed we've gone out, but I'm happy with the application and the effort to try and change it around.
Where are you with it, Tom?
I was happy that they gave it a go because we haven't seen that enough this season. Especially second half, that 10-minute spell, we could have scored 2 or 3. I think Rio had a really good impact when he came on. But yeah, they gave it a go. But ultimately, like Mo and Andy have said, disappointed to be going out as, we're Liverpool, it's the Champions League. We are capable of, we've done it in the past where we've turned these deficits around. Barcelona just was one example a few years ago, and obviously that was a Klopp team. This team, definitely not as good. Definitely struggling to just get consistency at the minute. And second half, you just feel if they played like they did in that spell before PSG scored, it was a wonderful goal, by the way. It was really good from Dembele, who, he's probably the best player in the world, won the Ballon d'Or. So at the end of the day, you hold your hands up and say, yeah, better team won. But you just think if Liverpool give it a go, like they did in that second half, then for the remainder of the season, we can end the season on a fairly decent high, and it's a big one on Sunday against Everton as well. So, if they play like that, hopefully a few good moments in the remainder of the season, and we get Champions League football again.
Do you think there's anything the manager could have done differently to get the positive result we needed? Because, listen, the Isaac gamble doesn't work. No. I think it is fair to say. So, you could talk about, well, was that the right thing to do? But, and we can all do our hobby horse, whoever that might be. Oh, you should have started Rio because... If only the manager would have done what I wanted to do, they would have been different. But, so there's always players that we'd rather see or things like that. But do you think there's actually anything the manager could have done based on what you saw and based on what he had to make a 3-0 win or a 2-0 win to take an extra time more possible?
It's difficult because it's hard to not look at it with the benefit of hindsight.
Yeah.
So the whole Isak thing is a really good example of this. So I was okay with the idea of him starting principally because I feel like where he is at the moment in his development, it might be harder for him to get to the pace of the game halfway through if it's an intense whiz-bang game rather than him starting and everyone starting from the same level. I thought that might be easier. The issue is that we didn't get him enough of the ball. And then you look at the game with hindsight and you look at the period where Liverpool were at their most dangerous, which was probably, 45 to 65, and you think, well, if we'd had him there, then maybe he could have made a difference. The other thing, I think, is some of the matchups. So, a little bit of a preview for Friday here, by the way. Rio and Gamora hasn't been on the pitch when we've had our main strikers on the pitch anywhere near enough for me this season. 32% of his minutes have been when either Isak or Ekitike has been on the pitch. The amount of times he's come on as a sub for one of those, it's quite maddening. Because if you think about what he gives you, that ability to beat a man and put a ball in, how many times has he done that? And the ball's there and the man's not there. The guys with those instincts, you need to keep him with them, and we didn't see enough of that. So that's something that I probably would have liked to see a little bit more in that game. Outside of that, I think it's difficult because, as I mentioned before the game, PSG are a really hard team to game plan for because not only are they really technically strong, but they've all been together as a team for long enough now that they can be a little bit more funky with the way that they move. You have players dropping back into left back position, the left back bombing on, and if you're trying to go man to man, it's a nightmare because they're all going in all different directions. If you're trying to sit in your shape, it's a nightmare because they're really quick and they're really good technically, but they also can play balls in behind you. So you're never going to get to a situation where you can stop all of their skills. So for me, I wanted to see us concentrate more on us. And again, it's like, if I had been doing it, I would want them to score as early as possible because then that sets the whole game up. And yeah, maybe just find a way to be a little bit more dangerous in that early period of the game. That's probably the only thing I would say. But again, we have to acknowledge the fact that this is a very good football team they're playing against.
Anything they could have done differently, do you think, either before the game or even during with the subs?
No, I'm with Mo. Hindsight's great in it. I mean, the whole message going in for me, try and get one early. So if you want to try and get one early, well, you play your most expensive striker, all right, he's fans way back into form, but you play. He made the choice of playing Ekitike and Isak, which I think is a little look into what the plan is for the future anyway. Would have maybe gambled on Ingamo, but I mean, you know, we could have done that, and he could have played that, and he could have played all three, and it ends up worse off, and then we're all going, why is he doing that? Why is he doing that? It's easy, innit? Just on Dembele's first goal, and all right, yeah, it's my hobby horse, but I'm not convinced by the goalkeeper. It was on his near post, and I think that sucks the wind out of Liverpool. But other than that, not really. I thought starting Frimpong was a good choice. I don't think he did it well at all. I don't think we got anywhere enough from him. You could see on paper what the plan was to get him involved and higher up. I think whatever happened, I think he lost his head a little bit in the last 15 minutes of the first half for whatever reason.
Was he injured? Did he go off at half time? Was it an injury, Mo? Or was that not ever really cleared up?
No, I don't think anyone asked about that specifically. I think we were asking about the Joe Gomez situation because that was a little bit more stranger.
Yeah.
But no, I don't think so. I think it's probably him coming back to fitness played a part in it, in as much as in his slots of mind he was thinking that there's only so much you can get out of him.
Yeah.
But I mean, the ironic thing is Joe Gomez comes in the second half and that's a shot almost immediately.
Yeah.
On Dembele's goal, though, that was the type of goal we used to score on the Jürgen. Sometimes when we run to that was a goal we'd score against Manchester City, if you will, where we'd be under the cosh in there, but we'd look resilient, though, we could see.
Yeah, they'd actually done nothing all half, are they? And hit with that.
And then just that tagger. And
it's the first shot, wasn't it?
The first shot on target goes in, and you could say Liverpool unlucky, or you could say Liverpool, you know.
It's being clinical's part of it, isn't it? And they have better forwards than us.
Exactly, and Liverpool used to be that. But I'm still not 100% if the other fella's in goal, all right.
I want him to save it. I want him to save it.
You don't want him to save it, but it is what it is.
Do you think he could have done anything differently?
I'm in the camp of these two over here, and I think the big talking points were Rio and Salah, weren't they? Those two not starting, and obviously Rio's the bigger one because he scored in the last game. He's had really good impacts off the bench. Hasn't really. I think every game he's played in, he's had man of the match, or 3 of the 4 he's had man of the match. So there was people calling for him to start, and obviously Mo Salah, his last Champions League game for the club. Everyone sort of wanted to see him involved. I think just to see if he can pluck up some more of his magic. And I think the plan for him was, because Isak's obviously getting back to fitness, I think the plan for him was to maybe bring him on a half time for Isak.
He was always going to get a half in teams, wasn't it? And then ends up getting 60 minutes effectively.
The big surprise for me was starting the two with him, Ekitike and Isak.
Do you think he was just trying a bit of a surprise factor? I wondered whether it was a little bit of, well, they've seen most of what we've got, they've dealt with it. Let's give them something that they're not expecting.
So obviously the manager's plan's gone out the window when Ekitike, I'm gutted for him, honestly. things just being announced then the club. I think we already knew already, but that he's done his Achilles, and that obviously his plan goes out the window. Salah's had to come on a lot earlier than expected, and I thought Salah did okay. He was driving forward, trying to get into the box, but again, just didn't have that clinical edge in the penalty area, and that's what cost us really in the end.
And you mentioned the penalty before. I was a little bit surprised to see it overturned when I looked it back. I'll be honest, and this isn't me with my red tinted glasses, because in the ground, I was shocked to give it. Yeah. So when I saw it, I was like, it's never a penalty. The ref gave it really quick, and I was like, oh, bloody hell. So I thought he bought it a bit. But then when I saw it back, it's like, it's a bit more of a penalty than what I thought. And like, listen, I can understand why a ref in real time wouldn't give it, but I'm a little bit surprised. I don't think that gets overturned in the Premier League.
No, I agree. I think it's one of those where the parameters that they're looking for in terms of the way that Patrick contacted Alexis McAllister, that's normally saying, okay, well, if you think that's a penalty, that's enough from what we can see to go with your decision. Whereas obviously it seems to be a little bit different in Europe. I'm probably like you, I was surprised he gave it, but then obviously surprised it was overturned, and so you kind of find yourself thinking, well, how do you feel about it?
We ended up in the right place. Yeah.
But I think it's difficult, because when looking back on it, that was such a pivotal moment, because it was literally 2 or 3 minutes before they scored, and that 5-minute swing basically is the game. Yeah. And it was just getting to the point where Liverpool had lots of good pressure. They created a good few openings, but you just started to sense that maybe desperation was starting to take hold, starting to think, okay, we've got to score now or never, and then you get that opportunity. By the way, here's a good counter question for all of you. Who do you think was going to take it?
It looked like Szoboszlai. It looked like Szoboszlai to me.
I don't know,
because Gakpo was doing the Szoboszlai roll of standing on the spot. Mo Salah was nowhere near, although he's emerged late in the past.
Yes,
I reckon it was Szoboszlai, but that's just my viewing of what was going on. What do you think?
I agree. I think he probably was, and I think it probably will be him. I mean, there might be 1 or 2 situations where Salah gets. So, for example,
if we get a penalty in the last home game at Anfield,
yeah.
Brentford, then we've go get it.
Or if Liverpool already got Liverpool have already got a lead, and there's a penalty, that won't be surprised. But I think, in crucial situations now, I think that torch has been passed, and it's a real shame, because, as I say, I think the game could have completely changed had that gone in. But I mean, over the course of if you look at the Champions League, some of the decisions we've had go for and against this, it's almost harder to understand what is and what isn't, because I think the one against us in Galatasaray in the league phase, I don't think that's a penalty. And then there's the one in Real Madrid that was a penalty that was overturned. And I think you can drive yourself crazy looking back on all those things. But ultimately, I think probably ended up where we should have done on that one, maybe.
Yeah, where do you should have? Either on whether it's a penalty or you would have took it. Take it wherever you want.
So, I think if you give the penalty, turn it over is a little bit mad. Because it's not like it was a clear and obvious header.
We does kick him.
And he does, and there is contact. It was a little bit mad, because I watched the game back on telly, and the VAR failed to feed, the TV feed.
Yeah, we saw
failed.
That as well.
And, and they were talking about VAR, and I think it was John Champion was going, VAR, not even looking at it. And the next thing you see the referee trotting over to the monitor, he's going, what's going on? Like, listen, what's going on here? And Alan Shearer's going, what do you see more? Because they just showed a blank penalty.
Yeah. So, like when the BBC used to go off.
Yeah, like the test card there. That really scary doll. No, who would have took it? Yeah, I think Tom would have took it. It'll be interesting on Sunday if we get one of the Hill Tickle.
Yeah.
Does ego carry over? But listen, there's no getting away from it. PSG deserve to go through, but I just think that would have set the game on fire. I wasn't convinced some of the goalkeepers. I wasn't convinced with their goalkeeper whatsoever. And I don't think this is something that's done my head in with Liverpool this season, even last season. And this is me crying in, every mistake we make seems to we get punished for. And I don't think we're any good at all at punishing teams when they make mistakes.
No.
Whether it's goalkeepers, defenders, whatever. I think we're crap at it.
So a really good example of that.
But this is where I'm going, the time wasted thing.
Oh, well. Yeah.
So there was a chart put out yesterday. The Times done a big stuff. Bill Eggett, who's brilliant, by the way. There was a chart come out about how much teams' time waste went in when leading a game.
Right.
So obviously Arsenal on top. To the surprise, we're 18th. We're 18th. Now this is me advocating for the dark arts, but I don't think Liverpool are clinical or cynical enough this season, and I think that's been borne out, even down to throwing away either equalise or games we've lost in the last couple of minutes, because we're just not smart enough. We're not smart enough. Giving away useless throw-ins and just keeping the ball down the other end.
Is there a little bit of that though on just the circumstances of our leads? So so the first 5 games we didn't have time to time waste. We won them all in the 93rd minute, and then other ones we've tended to have won comfortably or not at all. I just wonder whether that's as much circumstance. But I do take your point.
But there's a massive difference. It's on margin.
I think
whereas Arsenal go 1-0 up earlier.
I think also we're the kind of team that tries to get to 2-0.
Yeah.
And doesn't maybe go to the, 1-0's fine, and then try to calm it down at that point. I'd be interested to know how much of that lead was in the last 15 to 20 minutes of a game.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't feel like we've been in that a lot.
Yeah.
But going back to what you're saying about not taking advantage of people's mistakes, did you see the goal that Arda Güler scored for Real Madrid?
Yes, I did.
That was exactly the same goal that Florian Wirtz could have scored against Galatasaray. Like the same thing happened, and he just put it wide, and it was almost in exactly the same point of the game as well. Yeah. And that really, when I saw that, I was just thinking, damn.
But that's the difference. That's the goal Mo Salah scored against City years ago.
Yeah. No, it is.
But there was. He makes one really good save down to his left when he holds it. Yeah.
He's not lucky with that, by the way. Technically, it hits the underside of his back. Not to be a goal.
Whatever he did,
he got away with it. He got away with it.
Well, he got away with it well. I'd rather be a lucky general than a good one. And I thought because I wasn't really having it, but when he kept hold of that, the Gakpo one, I was like, you know what, fair play, because I think most keepers would have, even by luck or design, sort of pushed that out. In terms of players who came out with credit, Tom, who's there for you? Is there anyone who you think on Liverpool's side you thought, do you know what, they gave everything, or actually they showed that their level is pretty close to PSG's?
Yeah, I thought Conte was really good.
Yeah.
Centre half, he didn't do anything wrong. I don't know if he was just trying to impress PSG. I know there's rumours that he's going to sign a new contract, but he was really good, Conte. I mentioned Rio before. I thought his impact, as it always usually is, was really good off the bench. Overall, they were fine. They all gave it a go. I think who was it? He should have closed down Dembele. Was it McAllister? Yeah. So stuff like that where they've just switched off for the slightest of seconds, and we've been punished. Like as you say, we can't punish teams, and then we get punished by teams from our own mistakes. But no, to be honest, we've mentioned the goalkeeper. Maybe he could have saved Dembele's goal. To be honest, they were all good, better. But they weren't good because we lost the game 2-0. But they were a lot better than we've seen this season. But yeah, Konate for me, just getting really composed. Just a really good defensive performance. I know we conceded 2, which sounds stupid to say that. He was good
the
defensively.
second one's just kind of because of how the game's gone, how the tie's gone, doesn't it?
But yeah, really impressed with Konate and Rio and Gamoa. Now, we need to see him start sooner rather than later. Now I think more often than we did against Fulham. And I really want to see him start against Everton.
Well, go on to that in part 3. But Mo, who impressed you on the night?
I felt like Gravenberch grew into the game.
Yeah.
I don't think he had the greatest start. I've got to say again, Vitinha and João Neves, I would absolutely hate to play against those two, because they are the world kings of letting you think you've got a chance and then just whipping around you. And they were just like, he couldn't get near him in the first half, but he grew into the game, started to be a little bit more dominant, started to do his drop his shoulder and run business. And I felt like it was a little bit more, he was taking control of the situation, which you don't always see from him. And again, I guess being defensive midfielder, you've got to always think about what's going on behind you. But maybe the mindset of that game is, we've just got to score, we've got to be a bit more front-footed. And it felt like he did quite okay with him. I know, slightly controversial, I actually thought Gakpo did all right when he came on as well.
He did.
I felt like it was, I don't know.
Felt like killing him when he got in the way of Ingamoa though.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. But maybe he's just used to being on the left
Yeah,
side.
no, he is.
He's like, oh shit, there's no one. No, I'm not really the guy there. That was it. I thought he did really well.
I think it's interesting for me because I do think that most of his best performances this season have come off the bench. I don't know whether or not other people will agree with me.
That was mentioned on the show. Was it you who said it?
It might have been. It might not have been the first time I said this. Yeah. So I don't know whether or not that's something to think about going forward. But yeah, it's difficult because you don't really, you can sense, like Tom said, everyone was really giving their best. Everyone was really trying, but some of them just weren't where you wanted them to be, I think. And yeah, it's unfortunate at this stage of the season because it was such a crucial game. But overall, I think if that level of performance is repeated over the next 6 games, we'll score more and we'll win more than we lose.
Milos Kerkez, for me. I think he's cemented himself now. I think that he's got the commitment, the desire. I think he now understands that he's a Liverpool player. I think he was a little bit over-keen at the start of the season. A little bit rash, trying to make an impression, but I think he's relaxed into it now. I think the commitment's there. I think if you were looking for a replacement for Andy Robertson, haven't seen what we've seen, then you found the guy. Obviously they're not going to be identical, but I think the things that Andy Robertson is good at and what we used to, the heart, the desire, the commitment is all there. I think Kerkez technically maybe proved to be slightly better in time. Whether he's got the other bits that Andy's got, we'll see. But I thought he hasn't done himself any disservice in either of the games. Yeah. I just don't Gravenberch though. I agree with you that it's been his best performance for a while, but he's been my biggest disappointment this season. He's just been nowhere near it. I don't know what's happened there. So I'm going off to
No. I'm still not 100% convinced that that's the best position for him. I know that he did very well last season, but it feels to me like you could put someone who has the natural ability to do a lot of the things we're asking him to do next to him, and suddenly he looks a lot better. That's the way I see it. But yeah, it's definitely not been as good a performance. Like the things that I thought he was really good at last season, again, the reading of the play, the amount of interceptions he was able to make, and to try and kind of cut out danger before it arrived, doesn't seem to have had as much of that. I don't know whether or not he's still kind of caught between 2 stools, because he said at the beginning of the season, didn't he, that Slott's trying to allow him to be a little bit more attacking, and it's like, well, that's great, but is that your job? Should that be your job? Yeah, I think for all of them, I'm not 100% sure that they've been fantastic. Obviously, Soberside's had the highlight moments, but as a functioning unit, I just don't think they've been anywhere near as good.
Yeah, I think with Gravenberch, I wonder how much of it's just he had that surprise factor last year and people, weren't expecting him to play the position in that way, and so he was able to, do all the turns that we saw and the burst of paces away and things like that. And I think he just had that natural enthusiasm to play, that he didn't mind that it was in a sort of slightly different role, really. So there was him going, oh, this is brilliant, I'm playing every week, and I'm desperate to show what he has, combined with no one else really playing that role in a similar way. So the opposition really being caught out and thinking, oh, I'll just press this bum if they got number 6 or whatever. I know he won't be a bum playing for Liverpool, but you know what I mean? They used to with number 6s, you really, really pressed them, and he was just doing things that they weren't expecting. But now everyone's adjusted a little bit more expected. You see people sort of holding off him a little bit more and negating that aspect of his game.
Played a lot as well.
Yeah,
Country, 2 years in a row.
Yeah, there's also miles in the tank and maybe legs being a little bit heavy, and sometimes there's all sorts of reasons for form.
Do you think it's McAllister issue as well? Because McAllister's not been on it. Somewhat dynamic in the midfield.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't look like he's got a lot of space to cover, doesn't he? And that's generally the team not working as well. I don't think it's just McAllister. I think it's the whole unit. The whole unit not being able to press, but. I tend to agree with Mo in that I just think it's time to rethink him a little bit. I wouldn't be saying, oh, let's get rid of him, it's not working, or let's necessarily replace him with, more of an out-and-out number 6. It's okay, we almost need to reimagine the whole midfield, but I would certainly have Gravenberch as part of that. I think he's really talented. That leads me on quite nicely, Tom, to next season, and we've known for a while that Liverpool need to do a bit in the summer. Reflecting on Tuesday, is it cemented your opinions even more on what you think Liverpool need or should be looking for?
Yeah, well, we need a striker now. I think you have to plan that we're going to be with Ekitike for the majority of next season as well. So, yeah, I don't really care who it is, as long I think who comes in will be the second pick to Alexander Isak. Don't know. It could be some brilliant random just striker in the Swiss league, and he's there to just do his job and just be underneath Isak in the pecking order. And I think centre half as well. We need another choice there.
But they've got
Jackie coming in. I don't know why all the players we've signed got injured or really bad injuries. Frimpong's his hamstring's not working.
Leone.
Jackie's not even here yet.
Jackie's not even here.
Like, we can't blame our fitness team for that one.
Someone will go somewhere.
Yeah, he's not even give him the wrong programme.
But we just don't seem to have any luck in that sort of field at the minute, and hopefully we just sign a striker that can just be a second choice to Isak. I think that's massive now because you can't have just one striker. We never know what's going to happen to Isak. He might get might get a toe injury again. Hopefully he doesn't. But yeah, striker, centre half, and you've said about the revamp in the midfield as well. I think a few more bodies in there maybe.
It is interesting, the forward situation, Mo, because there was a little bit of talk over the last couple of weeks that they would maybe look towards a front two with Wirtz just off them, so that they'd like to see what it looks like with Ekitike and Isak in the same team with Wirtz behind them, and so that, I wouldn't say negates the need for wide players because you want to be able to play in a different way, but it does change your feeling slightly. That's completely out the window now. We're not going to see too much of that next season, and so I think I take the Tom's point on a number 9, and they'll need someone who's able to play there because it can't just be Isak on his own. But actually, for me, this really reinforces the need for these outstanding wide players.
I think you need versatility, for sure. I think you need anyone who can play out wide but also play through the centre is going to be at a high premium, I think. Probably helps if you're homegrown. Maybe even helps if you maybe live not too far from here in the media.
Know the city, know the culture.
Yeah. Look, okay. We've all seen reports about Andy Gordon, so I
Is that who you meant?
Yeah. So I would not be surprised at all if he was on Liverpool's list. I do think that, for me, it's difficult because you can really make an argument to say there's not very many places on the pitch Liverpool couldn't do with improvement. But for me, rather than positions, I'm looking at profiles. So I want pace, I want strength, I want versatility, I want technical ability. Like, I think everyone Liverpool signs has to have at least 3 of those 4 those qualities. So I don't care where you're putting them. We just need more of that in the squad, because that's one of the things we've made lost. We've spoken about the pressing. That's a big part of what that's about. Why we're not as good as that. I mean, look at Luis Diaz last night. Like, we don't have anyone doing that. And yes, you can understand why Luis Diaz went, but can we have someone who can do what he does? That would be really helpful.
Yeah. Well, how about you, Andy?
Yeah, street fighters. We need a couple of street fighters. I had Bayern Munich in my mind, then we were talking last night. This sounds mad, and I know it could never happen, but if you're looking for a backup striker and someone who knows what it's like to play in Liverpool, who I think we've actually missed a little bit this season, TAW Nunes. No, but you can't tell.
Are you ready to go down that road again?
I am ready to.
Imagine 20 minutes in, you're like, oh, fucking hell, yeah, he did the heading. Oh, shit. It's like the ex-girlfriend, you've forgotten all the bad stuff. You just, we had some lovely times. Remember that when we went to that festival and it was great? Yeah. And then you ring him up and you're like, oh,
no, I'm not advocating, but we have missed we have missed that energy. We have missed that. You talk about pressing, you talk about all the bits that were in the DNA of that Liverpool team. And look, we all know Darwin's got his faults, and he ultimately wasn't good enough. But you can never question the application of the lad, apart from when it went really poor at the end. But no, on the day, just sign just people who you know are going to put a shift in, who'll just scrap for you. And I think Gordon fits that profile. He'll need to cut off the diving though, because I can't.
The
That
fascinating
does
thing for me about Anthony Gordon is that go and listen to the fans of Everton and fans of Newcastle. Neither of them were very happy with him. They were able to kind of deal with the things that do your head in about him while he was there. But as soon as it looks like he wants to leave, oh nah, you can have him. He's useless and all that kind of stuff. And a lot of them talk about, oh yeah, he shows up in big games and he's arrogant. He throws himself around. Blah 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 blah. I think considering how he feels about this club, some of those things might be mitigated. I also think that he already has a very good relationship with the striker that we've already got.
The problem is, will Newcastle deal with Liverpool after last summer?
Wow.
That's the
question is,
I
will they
think
have a
they will.
choice?
I think that's a bit all overblown. I think there was a lot of posture going on last summer, and I think, yeah.
Do you love the posture?
Listen, I just think that, I think they'll sell to Liverpool.
I think that there will be a lot more of the fan base who are happy to see him go, who will think that they can fleece Liverpool like they did with Isak. So I don't think there'll be anywhere near as much of a PR issue if they turn around and said we're going to sell him to Liverpool as there was last summer. Yeah, I mean, the question is that who else wants him and whether or not there are other clubs who are willing to pay more to Newcastle, because if you look at Newcastle's situation right now, money is the bottom line.
Just on what Tom was saying about the centre-half situation, I think we're well stacked next year because you've got
If Conte stays. If Conte stays.
Conte stays, you got Xhaka coming in. I think if Robertson's gone, maybe they need to have a look at another left-back.
I think they'll just get Chimikas.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying.
I think they'll just get it because it's just one less thing to do.
Yeah, but it's easy then. Yeah. But I was going to say Chimikas style, happy to be back up. Right full-back. Possibly.
Yeah, well, that's the thing on Bradley. We just don't know on Bradley.
You just don't know because a big injury to come back from. And we just need some nasty bastards, John. Yeah. We do. I know that sounds really basic and reductive. But
I'm a basic bitch. I'm a basic bitch.
Like a Gibbons, I'm not saying Gibbons per se, but like that type of player, he'll just be a bit of a twat. Sorry, I know it's a free show, so I apologise. Someone who'll just be, when we talk the being street smart, being cynical, being a little bit clever, we're just not good at that enough of that. So more of them nags.
Assistant Alexander Isak at St James's Park next season, imagine. Andy Gordon.
That's got you going. Listen, there's loads more transfer talk on the gutters today. So Rob Gutman is coming down this afternoon. He's shadowboxing in the mirror as we speak, ready to unleash. I mean, he's had some links today. The papers have gone wild for him this morning. Not just Andy Gordon, the sensei from Bournemouth, who Liverpool are said to be favourites for. There's Dom King straight back in the action at the Telegraph saying we're getting rid of 9 players. Or is he saying that? Is that just a headline? You'll have to read it and find out. So loads of ins and outs for Gutman and his team, and that's including me. I'm on that show as well to get his teeth stuck into. So that is available for subscribers. So if you subscribe to audio and video either through our app or on YouTube, you will get that show later today. And obviously loads more looking ahead to the Everton game on Friday as well. That'll be available there from Friday. The game is obviously Sunday. But we're going to have a quick break now. Kieo talking to John Conteh, and then in part 3 we're going to be talking about Everton.
We're at the Royal Court with former world champion boxer John Conteh and Aaron Julius, the man who will be playing him in the upcoming production Conte, which is running here from the 17th of April to the 9th of May. Aaron, I'll come to you first. How did all this come about and what inspired you to write this play?
So it all came about when I was on a play called Boys from the Black Stuff, and I was looking at an actor play Yozza Hughes. And I was thinking to myself, I'd love to play somebody realistically that I look like and that I could really get my hands into. And I thought, who is there from Liverpool that is a character in that sense and brings so much life and energy to the city? And there was only one person and one man to play. And what really inspired me was, I thought the story, John's story, especially after meeting him in person, really had the propensity to help people. And to really, to help the boxing and help people who are going through any kind of mental or physical issues there. And I thought this is a real opportunity to create something special for the city.
John, what was your response when you first heard about this? How did you feel about it?
Oh, well, I felt an honour. I was honoured, because someone who want to portray your life and career. It's just it was an honour. You know, it's fantastic. Somebody wants to do that, number one. And then leave it back into the ball's in their court then, you know, because they're the pros. How they're going to develop it is up to them.
Why is John's story, you touched on it slightly there, but why is John's story one worth telling for yourself?
He's a world champion boxer from our city, and that in itself is worth celebrating and worth remembering through generations. Also, what I was saying about, you know, wanting to help people and wanting to, you know, what are we gonna, why are we telling the story? Why John? Why now? And answering all those questions in the play has been really interesting, exciting, but also like just to really remember, you know, the fighter, the man, and yeah, it's a celebration.
You mentioned there, John, it's an honour.
Yeah.
Just how special does it feel to have a play running about you in your home city?
It's fantastic, you know. It's an honour. Obviously a privilege all on that side. To be able to, how come, you know what I'm saying about it. It's fantastic. Someone want to do something about your life and all the rest of it. On the other side of it, you think, well, who are you? You know, well, you know, these great people, obviously, and you're judging yourself against medical people or people who helping people every day, you know, from terrible situations, you know, and firemen and all these people like that, you know, helping people and hot doctors. You think of all that. And I'm not just saying this to please or people pleasing, but you're putting it in a balance that way, you know, you think, well, who are you, you know, to them they should be making films about, whatever it is. Don't know if that makes sense.
No, it makes perfect sense. Aaron, the Royal Court, it must feel a massive honour to have your play running in such an institution like this. How does that feel?
Yeah, it feels great. My first professional job was here when I was 14. I was in Willie Russell's Our Day Out. So to kind of come back here with a play that I've written about you know, an absolute icon and be able to play him as well. Yeah, as John said, it's an honour and it's really exciting. It's special.
John, you just seen rehearsals for the first time there. You caught a glimpse of Aaron playing yourself. What was that like?
Well, I was on the ropes a bit, you know, because when you feel to portraying you feel, oh, you know, it's just fear, anxiety, whatever. So I won't get complicated about that, going too deep about it. But that's what I felt. Then I step back, you know, and think, well, put it into perspective. It's acting, actors, script, play about a theme, a situation, and a character and all that. And I'm trying to look at it as that, and I can identify with it. At whatever basic level, you know, what they're doing, whatever character's playing on there, which is a human character, so I can identify with it. It's basic, simple stuff, basic stuff in it there. Emotions and feelings in life, people's lives, and how they're getting on, up and out, whatever it is they're doing, and what happens, the up and down, falling, mistakes, the good side, the bad side. And just watching it from that point of view.
I've seen him in his Lonsdale tracksuit there. He's got the look down, hasn't he? Did you see him on stage? He had the Lonsdale tracksuit on. Do you think he represents you well up there?
Well, yeah, of course. Yeah, he's an actor. The actors.
Certainly looks the part.
That's their game. That's what they got. That's their talent to portray that. Whatever the costume's in, I take it's the human condition they're dealing with inside and getting that across to the audience. Well, if it doesn't touch the audience, I take it they don't believe it. It's not believable, you know. But they get it across as the talent they've got to do that.
Aaron, you wrote the play. You starred in the play. Can you tell me and the people where they can see the play, when they can see the play, and how they can get tickets?
So you can see the play at the Royal Court Theatre from the 17th of April till May the 9th, and book online, or come down and go to box office and get your tickets in hand.
And thank you and good luck, John. It's a pleasure to meet you. Thank you very much, fellas.
Thank you.
I'll leave you to it.
Perfect.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Cheers. Thanks. Cheers.
Thank you.
We are back in the room with Tom, with Mo and with Andy, and looking ahead, if that is the word, to Liverpool's trip to the Hill Dickinson on Sunday. They had a good win last time out. Well, last time out at the Hill Dick, 3-0 against Chelsea. And obviously, I follow the results closely generally, not just when we're playing them. And I think it's fair to say they've not had that big moment.
No.
Yeah. It coming in the home game before Liverpool's trip there is sort of less than ideal, but you were at the game, and I watched on the telly. They played really well.
They did. They played really well, and I think the most notable thing was the desire.
Yeah,
they were really they knew that Chelsea didn't want any part of the game. They were able to be physical with them, and again, I think this is something we've said previously about derbies, about Everton's game plan is to try and be physical with a team that's probably better than them technically, and sometimes the officials are happy to let them do it. Going back to what we were saying in the first part about Liverpool being streetwise, I noticed that Everton did it against Manchester United for about first half and a bit, but then some of United's older, wiser players, your Maguires, your Shaws, started knowing when to go down and started by getting a few free kicks, and that kind of stymied Everton's momentum. And so you'd hope that Liverpool would have the brains to be able to maybe do some of that. But they've got quality players in positions, particularly Iliman Ndiaye. I've been impressed with him literally every single time I've watched him over the last 2 seasons. He's going to be a handful.
Do you reckon they'll play him after he had that photo on Insta with his kids in red jackets, though? Wouldn't even let him into the stadium.
I think as much as there's been history of biting off your nose to spite your face, I don't think they'll do it on this occasion. The issue for me, I think, if you're Liverpool, where you can get an advantage, is Idrissa Gueye. He's an old man now, and they still don't have anyone better than him to play in central midfield. I really like James Garner. I think he's a very good footballer, but Idrissa Gueye, you should be able to get at him. If Liverpool are on their mettle, they should be able to get in and around him and win balls back high up the pitch and go in there and attack. So, yes, Everton have done great in recent games. They're not unbeatable. They're not better than PSG.
They're not better than PSG, but when Mo's talking there about how they managed to get at Chelsea and how they managed to be more physical than them and, you know, take advantage of that's what teams have done to us all season. And so as a game, it worries me because exactly what they're going to try and do to us. And like Mo says, the refs will generally be more lenient because it's a derby. We just haven't coped well with this season, and we need to cope better with it on Sunday because there can't be any surprises.
No, they can't, but I think the Chelsea results actually done us a favour because they've had the moment now. They've had that big win. Because God forbid it had come against us. No, Liverpool should be hurting going into it, and you talk about Chelsea's lack of desire for a fight. If Liverpool are going into this game lacking that desire for a fight, then things are actually much worse than what we think they are. We have got the physicality there to match them. I mean, we've got it. There are some giants in that Liverpool side, and they just got to turn up. In regards to the game itself, technically, if we match them physically, I think we should be fine, because I think technically we're better than them. I think Dewsbury Hall's having a great season for them.
Yeah.
But as you said, the Idrissa Gueye's not a young man anymore. I think that they have a lack of pace at the back. How Liverpool address that is a completely different question, and I will get onto later in the show, I would imagine. But the derby factor, I think, should play into it. It should be to Liverpool's advantage. Liverpool have typically thrived when Everton have been in decent form, and Liverpool have gone there. I think where Liverpool struggled against Everton traditionally is when Everton have tried to cover up and we've had to try and break them down. Most of the time, we've been okay with doing it a couple of times. We've been frustrated by them, but first derby in the shiny new big Tesco on the dock, they will be expected to come out and play, and hopefully Liverpool can exploit that.
How do they exploit it then? How do they get at them? How do we turn this, slight negative into a positive on the day? And is it Rio and Gamoa running that giant who've got it right back?
Yeah, I think so. The atmosphere is going to be probably the loudest they've ever experienced at an away derby, because there's 50,000 people, so they need to start quick. And I think if they're going to start quick, they need someone like Rio to just get at them. They need someone like, I'm trying to think of one of our midfielders who would just fucking hit them in the middle at the minute. Just someone to hit someone early. I know that's a very cliche thing in a derby, just get into them early and stuff.
But that's the
But yeah, you just need to get at them. The thing I'm terrified the most about is Liverpool not doing exactly that. I'm scared of them hearing that siren and they just shit themselves and they go into a hole and Everton just swallow them. But then there's the other side where, you know, all that goes out the window, all the form goes out the window. Liverpool are a better team than Everton, better players. And when we haven't been too good over the years, we've still found ways to win against Everton in the derby. And look, Everton, they're a much better team than the last few years. I think I watched that Brentford game on, was it Saturday? Yeah, Saturday 3:00, wasn't it? And
they got a good late.
Yeah, but they went behind, and I think a lot of Everton teams in the past would have wilted at that point and sort of, you know, they would have lost that game. And in the end, it was two teams who were really good, fighting for Champions League, fighting for European football. Me emotions at the minute, like every derby, you have your excitement, you're nervous, and then you have all your situations in your head going, we'll fucking do these, and then you have the other one where the exact opposite, we'll get beat. I just want Sunday to really hurry up now, and I just hate these next few days. I just want it to happen and be over with.
What will you do, Mo, if you were the manager?
It's difficult because I feel like at some point I'm going to contradict myself of what I've said already, because there's a part of me that's like, I want Rio to be on the pitch at the same time as Isak, which probably means that neither of them start. But then I've also just said that I think Akpo's better as a sub.
Yeah.
So it's like, one of those I'm going to have to break with.
Yeah.
I like the idea of Rio starting and getting that front foot early. I do wonder whether or not they're going to try and target him, because we haven't really seen that yet from our team.
Yeah, the odd tackle, but nothing too
No.
bad, yeah.
I think I'm not worried about Liverpool turning up not having aggression. My fear is what we've seen in the last few times Liverpool gone away in the derby, where that aggression has been used against them with the help of a ref who's given fouls against them every time. They go in a little bit physical, they get fouled against them, they get frustrated, and suddenly they're taking their mind out of the game. I think that's the biggest worry for me about how Liverpool approach this. In terms of who do I want in the team who's going to kick someone up in the air, I mean, that's obvious. It's got to be Curtis. Curtis has got to start this game.
Yeah.
Like, whatever you think about where McAllister is in terms of his fitness, I'm starting him in this game. I think just in terms of being able to do what he does well under pressure, he's there. I think in terms of being able to tell everybody else and keep everyone else honest on this one, he'll be there. I mean, we saw what happened, obviously, when he got sent off the last game, and that's the time when he kind of goes overboard. But I do think that goes back to the thing, like what Julio used to do, what Rafa used to do. Happy birthday, Rafa, by the way. He'd put the local boys in this game.
Yeah.
And they would do it for a reason, because yes, they might occasionally boil over, but they will also understand what it means. They understand that extra 2-3% that you need in these games. And yeah, so I'll be picking him. I know that you're concerned.
I pick Jones, yeah. You'd always be my number one pick.
I disagree. I think he's had a poor season, Curtis, and I think what we need against Everton is fast transitions, and that's the one thing he doesn't offer yet. I think he just chooses far too much for me, and I think it gets into the realm of performative with Curtis sometimes against Everton, whereas with Steven, Jamie Carragher, whatever.
We can't pick them, though.
No, you can't. No, but there's genuine aggression, there's performative aggression for the cameras, if you will. And I just think that, I just think it's a risk. I think it's a risk with him. I keep him there. If you talk about aggression, it's, I don't know, I praised Milos Kerkez earlier in the show, but this is a game, absolutely. Andy Robertson's name's all over it. And let him lead. Let him lead from left back. Let him set the example. Let him keep them honest. Let him hold them accountable. For me, with Everton, if you can match that aggression, you want as much technical ability on the ball as you can get. And we've got technically better midfielders than Curtis Jones ahead of him. And I'm happy to disagree with all these on that.
I just think I thought McAllister was really struggled the other night. I thought he really struggled, and I think, you know, I agree with you that Jones hasn't had a good season. I think particularly since January he's been poor, but I thought last 2 games, I thought when he came on, you know, he comes on in a bit of a difficult moment, but I thought he showed a bit in that game, and I thought, you know, the half he plays against, who did he play? Fulham. I thought was the best he's played for ages, and so like he is coming into a little bit of form, not loads. I'd love loads much more than 45 minutes against Fulham before he went off injured to hang my hat on. But I think he's last 2 times he's been on the pitch, we've seen more of the Curtis Jones, and I just think, listen, if the midfield was flying like they were last season, I wouldn't be worried. But I am worried about McAllister at the moment. Exactly. I think he looks nowhere near, and I think, you know, I'd be looking to sort of get Jones in there, but I think Robbo as well is a really good shout as someone, and it, you know, it might be the last Merseyside derby for both of them, and I just love one of them to have a big moment in it, and it might happen. But what do you and Tom? You know, Rio aside, what are you going for?
The goalkeeper's obviously set. Don't even know why I've mentioned the goalkeeper there. Is Alisson? When's Alisson back? By the way, not soon.
No.
I think Robertson. I'll go for Robertson just because of that, you know, leader. Played in derbies before. I'd be terrified Kirkes would be getting sent off. He'd be up against Ndiaye, wouldn't he? Is that right? On the right?
Maybe.
Yeah. I'd just be terrified he'd make a challenge. I know he's calmed down a lot in the back end of this season, but yeah, I'd go for Robertson, Virgin and Konate. Frimpong at right back. Gravenberch, I'd go for Jones. You need a scout in a derby. You need one. Just, he gets you. I know we said he hasn't been great this season, but you need someone in there who understands what this game means to the fans in the away end. Szoboszlai, and then Isak, Rio, and
Mo.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's tricky because I've left Florian out there, haven't I?
I would play Verts.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Go for Mo. Mo's last away derby. Mo front 3. Isak, Mo, Rio.
I'm torn on Verts because I can see a world where he's the perfect player to get through Everton in terms of he has the technical ability to be able to see the pass and to be able to set others away, particularly if you've got Frimpong on the pitch. And Frimpong and Salah did link up quite well, I think, in the last couple of games. But in terms of the times when you can't afford a passenger in this game. And there is a worry that it might be one of those where he's not quite up.
He's just not able to get into it.
Yeah. And I worry about that. But then the flip side of that is, do I think that he would be able to come off the bench and influence that?
The idea of him and Isak coming on, you know, on 60, 65.
Yeah, it's difficult. I mean, he's got some really difficult decisions to make here about, does he believe in his players and think, okay, I'm going to get the best out of you and you're going to go and impose yourself? Or does he do what we're doing and worry about, I'm not sure about him. Is he going to go with the positive way and say, yes, I back you? Or is he going to be like, I'm playing you because I don't back him? I don't know. I mean, this is why he gets paid all the money.
As I said before, we need to just get at them. The pace from Rio and Salah, Vert's a brilliant footballer, but I just think in the first 15 minutes, like it usually is at Goodison and now the Hill Dickinson, Everton, they come out, don't they? Fire in the bellies, and I just don't think Vert will get a second to breathe. And if we play a more direct sort of style with Salah and Rio on the wings, I think we'll have more joy than Florian trying to, you know, skip around a flurry of blue shirts in the opening 15-20 minutes.
See, I'm the other end of this. I think Liverpool, as much as we talk about matching the aggression, I think Liverpool have got to walk into that game and walk out to Everton, not falling into the trap of trying to match Everton. And I think Vert, I think it's the perfect game for them. I think if you're not playing him because you think he can't do that, then you're going into the protective mode, if you will. Whereas you want a Liverpool side going out, going right. Not only are we going to match you physically, we're going to show you we're fucking miles better than you as well. And this fella's the one who's going to do it. and he has improved his physicality over the course of the season. I think the worst thing Liverpool can do is, fair enough, first 20 minutes is going to be a dogfight, we expect it to be win that. But then don't fall into the trap of making the whole game a dogfight. Once you've established that physicality, show your quality. And I think Florian Wirtz is the perfect player for that. If you talk about, you know, the Dogs of War and Everton fighting, in games like this, how many times do we see the Bruyne do for Manchester City when City were in a dogfight? Just that little bit of quality to unlock them. And I'd do that. And then you talk about Rio, like, would you want Rio? Listen, I'm not picking the team here, but I'm not totally against the arguments of bringing Rio on with half an hour to go against tired and legs, because if it's been a big physical game, you would imagine, especially given Everton's lack of pace at the back as well, you can soften them up for that, but get the game on before then. And I think, you know, you're talking about Florian Wirtz, he's not had the season, no one's had the season we all hoped that any Liverpool players would have, because of circumstance, the manager, whatever you want. But if you're not playing your second most expensive signing, who everyone in Europe wanted, then there's a problem there.
No, I agree with that as well. I think that if you're in April and you're still protecting him or thinking he's not the best version, he doesn't feature the best version of Liverpool, then that's a problem.
Yeah, I don't think it's fully down to him, though. I won't play him in this game. The manager might. You know, luckily it's not up to us because we can't decide between us. Like the old-fashioned days before Shankly, when the boardroom used to pick the team, we'd be getting nowhere here. But I think for me, it's not necessarily a big slight on Wirtz. I don't think we're set up at the moment to get the best out of him, and I think that's partly because of what's behind him, but also what's ahead of him. Really, he was, you know. And I think if Isak was flying and coming into this, I'd be thinking, well, who can we play to get the best out of him? And that'd be Florian Wirtz. If we had a more robust midfield behind him, I'd say, okay, well, they're giving him the platform to play. I don't think anywhere he looks at the moment, he's particularly got what he wants. And unfortunately, I don't think he's the kind of player who just goes, well, I'm just going to grab it and I'm just going to make it happen. I don't think he is that type of footballer. And so I think Florian Wirtz is the future of this football club. I'd be looking to build the team around him. But until we can do that, I don't think we're able currently. And so in this particular game, with the way I think it's going to go, I just think he's better off. You either pick him in midfield and play, you know, two behind him, who are going to be really robust, who are going to give him the platform, and I don't think we've got those players at the moment. We've made, you know, you could maybe got Szoboszlai, but there's not another who I think you could play it and give him that platform, or you could play him out wide. But I just think we're better off in this game going with Rio and Salah based on, you know, who's likely to play up front, which I think will be Gakpo. I'd be surprised if he starts Isak again. I think he'll look to hold him back in this one. I think a big factor in the, you know, the decisions to start him in that one was he had to have half an eye on extra time, even though it was a little bit of a nice one. So he couldn't really go 45 the other way, and then you've got to sort of take Isak off. And so I think you hold him back in this one. So if you're holding Isak back, you're going to have to play Gakpo up top. We haven't really sort of got much choice there. And then I think a front three of Wirtz, Gakpo, Salah. It's a bit slow for me. It's a bit sort of one-paced, and I think I'd be looking to get Rio in there. So that's just what I end up. I'm not saying the Wirtz experiment failed. For me, I just think in this particular game, I don't see what we can do around him that gets the best out of him, and I worry if he does play with 30 minutes in go, it's not really some Wirtz have. We've not seen anything out of him, and I personally think we'd be much better holding him back. You know, seeing where we are on 60, 65 minutes, and then if whatever the score is, if I'm seeing him and he's like on the sides, I know who the happier fans are in the stadium. It's the ones in the away fans rather than the home ones. I think whatever the score is, they're going to do some damage against it. So that's what I would do. But like I said, it is not up to us, fortunately, for everyone, if we're honest with you. It is up to the manager, so we'll see what he does. But they'll be debating this and more. We'll have a bit more information from the press conference, which I assume is tomorrow morning. Early.
Friday morning. Yep.
Friday morning. Mo's getting up early. He's getting himself up to the exit. He's done 20 years DJ, and someone think about Mo. He didn't know what 9 in the morning was until he started doing this. So there we are. So Mo's getting up bright and early, going up to the exit. So there will be, well, first of all, some stuff on Mo's YouTube channel. So do check out that, of course. But after you've done that, there'll be pre-match warm up here on the Anfield Wrap. So they'll have a little bit more information that we have on the likes of Joe Gomez, on the likes of Frimpong, and a couple of other injuries as well, where he thinks Isak's at will be interesting too. So that'll be tomorrow. So press comment section that's available for subscribers to the Anfield Wrap. And then on Sunday, we'll be at the Hill Dickinson, and we'll be doing the post-match reaction from probably Reds, if I'm honest with you, because the Blues have conquered that end of town, but we've still got the sanctuary of Reds Bar, so after we've been to the game, we'll be going to there and doing post-match reaction, hopefully, after the big Liverpool win. And Verts has started, and he scored a hat-trick, and I'm delighted. We shall see about that. That's it. Huge thanks to the guys there for making things happen. Obviously, to my wonderful panel. Do go and see Conte at the Royal Court if you're able to over the next couple of weeks. Looks really good. It's always a fantastic night out at the Royal Court, of course. And thanks a lot to Order Frames. Up the Reds.